So, what do you think it really takes to get into heaven? It's a question people have been asking forever, right? Well, today we're going to dive into a spiritual text that gives a single, and honestly, a surprisingly simple answer. Let's get into this really unique guide to the afterlife.
Okay, so what is it? What's that one single thing you have to do to make it to paradise? Is it about having enough faith, doing good deeds, praying all the time? Well, the text we're looking at says, nope. It's something else entirely. Something way simpler, but maybe a whole lot harder.
All right, so the text we're digging into today basically throws out the entire rulebook and says there's just one rule, a single standard that it claims is literally all that matters. Let's see what it is. And here it is. The term is wusi uwo. It translates to a state of complete and total selflessness. You know, a state where you have no ego, no thought of what's in it for me, where the I just isn't at the center of your universe anymore. And according to this philosophy, this isn't just a good idea. It is the only ticket to heaven.
And get this, the text says that once you actually achieve this wusi wuwo, your spot is guaranteed. Done deal. It doesn't care if you're 3 years old or 300. It doesn't matter how you died, peacefully, tragically, whatever. You reach this one state and your path is set. Period.
So, if being totally selfless is the one and only thing that gets you in, what about everything else? You know, all the stuff we usually associate with being a good person. Well, the text has a very clear and, frankly, pretty shocking answer to that.
I mean, wow, just look at this list. It's kind of radical, isn't it? According to this text, your job title, how much money you have, your biggest accomplishments, none of it moves the needle. Did you build a church, save 100 lives, spread holy teachings? Doesn't matter. Even your own personal faith and how devoted you are, totally irrelevant for getting into heaven. This idea just strips away every external thing we use to measure a person's worth.
This, of course, brings up a huge question. If none of that stuff works, how on earth are you supposed to achieve total selflessness? So let's take a look at the path the text actually lays out.
The philosophy here is really all about looking inward. It actually warns against the whole idea of running around trying to save others or help the world. Instead, it says real salvation starts and ends with you. By getting your own inner world right, you are actually, in a way, helping everyone. It completely flips the script on the usual way of thinking about this stuff.
So the text breaks the journey down into 4 big steps. First, repay your debts. And we're not just talking about money here. We mean all of them. Karmic, social, the whole shebang. Second, you have to sever all your earthly attachments. Oof, that's a tough one. Third, you practice giving, but in a way that the text calls giving without form, where you're not even conscious that you're giving. And finally, there's this really fascinating, kind of mysterious step, perfect the antimatter structure of your life. Now, this isn't science, but it's this idea of a deep, fundamental cleansing of your very soul, purifying your essence at the absolute core.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds ridiculously hard. And you're right. The text itself points out a massive, massive challenge that stands in the way for pretty much all of us.
And here's the catch. The text is super blunt about it. Trying to reach this state of pure selflessness while living in our normal, everyday world, with money, jobs, family, all of it, is, and I quote, almost impossible. It argues that our whole society is basically built on ego and self-interest, which makes this path a massive uphill battle for the average person.
So, what's the workaround? Well, the text actually proposes a specific solution. It says the best shot you have at this is in a special community called the Second Homeland, which was created by an organization named Lifechanyuan. This place is basically presented as the ideal spot to get away from all those worldly obstacles we were just talking about.
The stakes for pulling this off, or failing, are made crystal clear. According to the text, there are really only 2 ways this can end. One is heaven, and the other is an endless repeating cycle. Let's see how they're described.
So the text lays out this really stark choice. On one side, you've got heaven. It's a one-and-done, final destination, but it's only for the truly selfless. On the other side, you have the alternative for literally everyone else, reincarnation. And this isn't some romantic idea. The text describes it as a grinding, endless cycle. You're reborn as a human, then maybe a dog, then a pig, on and on and on. And the worst part? You have no memory of any of it. You're just stuck in the loop of life and death forever.
And that really leaves us with this huge final question, doesn't it? This philosophy sets an incredibly high bar, and it suggests our modern world makes that path almost impossible. So what do you think?
Is this idea of complete selflessness just a beautiful dream that's impossible to reach? Or is it a real spiritual goal that we can and maybe should be striving for in our own lives? Definitely something to think about.